Hey, what's up? Dusk here, and today we're going to talk about killer clowns and making plays and the combat system and if there's much of a skill ceiling in this game and how all that goes about. Now, there's going to be a lot of things that I don't talk about because I'm just going to kind of focus on this particular subject, and that's just the back and forth exchanges between clowns and humans. The ability to fight and make plays and all this stuff. So for making plays, it does seem that, like, for the most part, making a big solo play is definitely something the humans can do, and not so much the clowns. I mean, you definitely can as a clown, but it doesn't really feel like you're making a play. It's, for the most part, like you catch a human whose stamina is low, or you walk up behind them and you catch them off guard and they're trapped in a house, and just whatever, and you just like M1 them to death. And that's something you can do quite a bit, and maybe you have a strategy that helps create that situation a lot. But at the end of the day, that's not really making a play as much as it is just being a strategic player, and then just getting into these situations where you're going to be able to just M1 somebody to death. Humans, and this is true for a lot of survival games, where you have the big bads versus the not big bads. And the people who are just trying to survive are typically the ones that get to, have access to all the cool utility. Because they don't have access to power, so they have to have access to utility. And utility lets you make, flashy plays. And Killer Klowns is no exception to that. You can make really cool stealth jukes. As you see here on the carnival map, there's a lot of running around that you can do and vaulting to do, like, jukes. The clowns have good counterplay to it. They can break the doors down to ruin a lot of those cool vault points, and they can break the doors quick, too. It's very fast to break doors down in this game for the clowns. So the clowns can also bust out windows, so that if a human is jumping through a window back and forth to, like, evade the clown, they're just going to take damage every time they do that. So, like, as far as that part of the game goes, it seems to be set up pretty well. But yeah, the humans are definitely the bigger playmakers. Now, clowns can do some interesting plays when they do teamwork. And so if you do like making plays and you want to make plays on the monster side, the clown side, then you definitely want to be, playing with at least one person. So that you can coordinate a hypnotize play with something else, because that's really how you set these things up. Or an invisible clown car where you stun somebody and then your buddy follows it up, right? A good example of this is using hypnotize while another clown with boxing gloves does the wind up, knock your block off attack. If they can get the hit registry to work. Right now things are a little janky. We're still pre-launch in the sort of like beta test phase. So there's a lot of jank. But when that hit lands, you literally knock the head, like, I don't know where it goes. I think it just flies off the map in absurd Killer Klowns fashion. We didn't see where the head went. But the head was removed and the human fell over dead. Like, it was a one-shot kill from full health. So we were like, oh, oh. So you can set up pretty devastating plays. And this would work even in, a team fight scenario, especially if the hypnotizer was the tank. Right? They could take a few hits while you get lined up on, your little faster clown. And nobody's going to step in front of that to body block it because it's an instant kill, right? So you don't have to worry about somebody getting freed from cotton candy. You don't have to worry about somebody getting up off the ground because you can't get the clownality off. Like, it's just a one-shot kill and then on to the next targets, right? So clowns do have things that they can do as well, but you're not going to be making big solo plays, right? But that's probably fine because you can still make solo kills on clowns. It's just more about being strategic or maybe a little bit more mechanical, which is what's going to segue us into, like, the melee combat. The mechanics of melee combat, a little janky right now, but still the general idea, though, is that melee is going to favor humans because you can't melee a target that's running away from you, right? Because when you take a swing, it does slow you down a little bit. So, yeah, if somebody's just dead sprinting, you might get a hit or two off on them, but that's it, right? The human is gonna get away from you. And same thing for the clown. If the clown's just running away from you, you're probably not going to melee the clown as the human. The difference in the dynamic here is that if you chase the clown away, if the clown's running from you as a human, you're winning. Because now you're free to do objectives, and you can just chase the clown away every time. As the clown, you need to get to the human to kill them, right? I know you're thinking, well, popcorn bazooka. The popcorn bazooka is busted OP, right? I didn't think so at first. I always like to wait to see how things affect games. But the popcorn bazooka is completely busted. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So don't think about the popcorn bazooka right now. And after that, for clowns, all you have is a melee if you want to kill. If you want to do range, it's your cotton candy gun. That's a pretty nice dynamic, in my opinion, because the melee is much harder to land. But it's also much more lethal because you're in clownality territory. Whereas the cocoon is, you got to hang them up, they can be saved. I think that's a really, really good dynamic for the game. And, running a survivor or a human down involves like really running them down, exhausting their pool, their stamina pool, but trying to keep up with them the whole time until they really can't get away. And that's very time consuming, right? Very time consuming. But yeah, so the melee favors the human in the fact that the clown has to come to the human. So you can do a lot of plays where you can run into a house, hide around the corner, and do the charge up attack, which all melee have a charge up. If you do right click on your mouse, I don't know what it is for a console, for a gamepad. But you can do a charge attack, and the clown comes in the house to get you, and then you can bash them as they come around the corner. And the charge attacks for the human melee attacks are all, seem to be, as far as I can tell, a guaranteed stun, even against a tank. And then the clown is hard stunned. They can't do anything, and then you can proceed to just kill them from there. So it is essentially, for all intents and purposes, a one-shot kill. That is pretty devastating when, it is incumbent upon the clown to chase the human. This can change mid-game, though, once clowns get access to their heal. Now, they can't heal while stunned, but they can preemptively heal before entering a house, and that gives them some movement speed anyway. And then that healing should actually keep them alive long enough to then pull out of the fight, or outlast the stun, especially if you're on a clown that's got a little bit more of a health pool. So basically, this all means that the power dynamic of the game is that humans start out strong, but then as they break weapons and as their numbers dwindle because of escapes and or deaths, they get weaker. Clowns start out weak, but as they unlock their abilities and as the number of humans goes down, clowns get stronger. So that's the overall power dynamic of the game. But the popcorn bazooka ruins it because it is a ranged damage-dealing weapon that also tracks and also staggers. So it does some CC as well, meaning that you can 1v1 quite easily. If the human tries to run at you with a melee weapon, you can walk backwards at about the same speed they're sprinting at you, depending on, which human it is, athlete or whatever. But if you shoot them with a popcorn bazooka, you stagger them. And if they're running at you, they're coming in a straight line. If they're zigzagging, then they're probably not closing the gap, so they never get to you. So they have to run at you in a straight line. They're taking maximum damage from the popcorn bazooka, which is usually an entire health bar, but can be like a health bar and a half. If you're getting really close, and they can just walk backwards for the most part. The clown can just walk backwards out of your melee attacks, because not only does the popcorn bazooka stagger, but the melee attack also slows you down dramatically, while the popcorn bazooka does not slow the clown down at all. So you have 100% mobility while using this. So it just means that if you get 3 clowns with popcorn bazookas, you start out at maximum power at the start of the game, and you just make a kill squad, and you just go start killing humans. Completely destroys the power dynamic of the game. This tells me that the developers did not do a very good job of getting their gameplay loop down on paper or drawn out where they can see what it looks like, and then figuring out where everything fits into that power dynamic. The popcorn bazooka was a catastrophic, for lack of better words, up, right? Like, it's a design, it's just a massive design flaw. So how do they fix the popcorn bazooka? Well, they've got a nerf coming tomorrow. I'm a little worried that they're only going to cut the damage in half, because it still does the same thing. You just get 3 clowns with popcorn bazookas, and you just run around and bully survivors. It's just going to take you longer to kill them this time, but it's still going to be infinitely faster than trying to kill them with a cotton candy cocoon, which they can be saved from an infinite amount of times, right? So yeah, if they don't, it should probably do a little bit of damage, but I think damage, unfortunately, needs to be lowered by like 90%. You could use a popcorn bazooka to finish somebody off who's got like, a couple of hit points or something, pop them once or twice, and then they go down. But other than that, this shouldn't be a weapon that actually nets kills. It's there for the stagger. It's a highly mobile weapon. It has infinite ammo, long range, and it tracks. When you hit somebody with it, all clowns get a map-wide wall hack onto that target. And since clowns can teleport across the map with the clown jump, that's big trouble, right? Like, getting hit by a popcorn bazooka is deadly enough as is, let alone the fact that it's doing an insane amount of damage. So, yeah, that's a popcorn bazooka. But once they resolve that, the rest of the game is a pretty good dynamic. Anyway, I need to wrap this up. I just went on a giant side tangent. I'm just going to edit all that out. Yeah, I just want to wrap it up here. So what's the consensus here on the skill ceiling for Killer Klowns? It's hard to tell if the game is going to have like a good skill ceiling or not. At this point, it's very inconclusive, but the potential is there. That's the takeaway. The potential is there. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.